Welcome to Distro Podcast.
All right. Well, thanks for everyone that's listening in. Today, we are meeting with Michael Doyle on the Distro Podcast. Distro Podcast is brought to you by Distro.io, the better Upwork for hiring long-term key players globally. Michael, thanks for taking some time today. Is it better for us to call you Michael or Mike?
Michael's fine.
Perfect. Michael, you're the CEO and I believe founder of Brand Iron. Is that right?
That's correct.
Awesome. Well, we'd love to get to know you, Michael. Whatever you're willing and happy to share. We'd love to get to know whatever you're willing to share about yourself and and anything about your background.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. Brand Iron, we've been around for 22 years now. It's kind of crazy, but it's been a long time. But I usually like to tell the backstory first because that kind of helps give you an idea about how Brand Iron came to be. So, right college, I worked for an advertising agency. I did business development, worked for a couple of years. I showed up for work one Friday and the doors were padlocked, happened to be payday. So I clearly found out, A, I wasn't going to get paid, and B, I know how long I had a job. And I was like, oh, crap, what am I going to do? So what I did is that was a Friday, I went and got a waiting tables at a restaurant the next day. And because I needed to pay rent, because rent was due, and clearly I didn't get a paycheck. So it was kind of panic mode. So nothing like being motivated, right? And then working with a lot of our clients. All these clients don't want, and I call them up and see if I can't pick them up as clients and start my own agency. I was in my mid-20s, had no idea what the hell I was doing, but I did it. And, I did. I started my first agency at the whim, kind of out of desperation one weekend, long time ago, but I did it. I built that firm up over 10 years. During that time, I merged with a design firm because I was just more a marketing firm. I didn't have in-house design and contract at all. And then after spending so much money with a contractor / a firm, I just said, it's probably going to be cheaper for me to buy you than it is to continue to pay you what I'm paying you. And they were interested in it. So I acquired them, merged together. We probably doubled in size again. So after that, into end of 99, beginning of 2000, one of our clients was a big IT firm who got acquired. It was a part of an IPO roll-up, and they asked me if I was willing to sell my company and come to work with them and run a national.com brand. And so I sold my firm and was with them and reported to Wall Street for a couple of years. And that's where I learned to put together what we call these analyst presentations and pitch decks. And I had no idea what it was doing at the time, but over the course of doing that for a couple of years, I got to know quite a bit about putting together pitch decks or capital raise decks. And so when I was done serving my time in purgatory, I went back on my own and started a Brand Iron. And a big part of our audience then was like, I've learned a lot over the last couple of years about what it takes to support your company, whether it be your stock or put that into a pitch deck to raise capital. And so a large part of our clientele base is whether it be private equity firms or real estate investment firms or venture capital firms or like technology firms. So we've put together hundreds of pitch decks over the years. We helped our clients raise more than $5 billion of capital through these decks. And I've had the opportunity to consult and do a lot of pitch deck consulting. And so a large part of our clients these days are those type of, whether it be alternative investment type of clients, or clients that want to grow rapidly and get to the next level and maybe even get acquired themselves. Or we've had a couple of our clients go public as well too. So we've created a product called capraisedeck.com. And so it's a product now, and it's kind of a great entry point because it's a very unique skill and we know how to do it really, really well. I know how to put together what I call a really good typed financial story. And I know how to help them package the story, make it clear and concise. Know how to tell it really good and help them be able to help pitch it and present it to be able to, whether it be raise money or if they want to get acquired or go public or whatever the goal and objective, or even just to pitch their concept at the very beginning. We help people put together these messages. We help define their brand. We help them put together like their online presence, a website. And then when they have money and they get the capital and they want to grow, we help them grow as well too, whether it be through traditional advertising, digital marketing or digital advertising, social media, you name it, we do it. And so, so we've been doing that for quite a while now. And it's a lot of fun. I like what I do.
Yeah, that's interesting. So is your core focus with Brand Iron today still the pitch deck side of things, or is that its own thing now and Brand Iron more does the holistic branding awareness and advertising?
It's a tool. It's a product. And so for Brand Iron, it's about a relationship and an ongoing relationship to help our clients achieve their bigger picture goals and objectives, and putting together a pitch deck or a capital raise deck, a product within that suite.
Got it. Very cool. Yeah, there's no doubt that you guys, I'm sure, bring tremendous value to companies that, I've seen plenty of pitch decks. I've created some myself, and every time I'm like, this is horrible. This is not good. But good on you guys. So what? I mean, do you know what kind of market share you guys have in that space? Because it's, on the pitch deck side, I would say, I would think you would know better than me, but is that more of a niche type of, industry?
Oh, totally. It is totally a niche industry. I know who we have a handful of competitors. There's only a handful. And it's definitely a niche. But, for us, it's not about doing that one product. It's about building a relationship to a long-term engagement. And, a lot of these clients, like I've got a client, a private equity firm, I helped him with his brand and his website and a logo and a pitch deck probably 12 to 15 years ago. And since then, he's bought and sold probably more than a dozen different companies. And we're doing a bunch of, work for him currently. And I'm doing a bunch of work for the companies he owns currently as well too. And so, that's really what it's designed to do, is how do we build this long-term relationship and engagement? And it's not just about one event, and it's about that ongoing long-term relationship to help grow together.
That's cool. You get the way I understand it, you guys ideally get to be a part of the journey of a company. Sounds like even from like early stage conception to, getting them through their first fundraise, maybe an acquisition, going public. That's got to be pretty satisfying, I'd imagine, when you have that like journey experience with each customer.
Yeah, it's super cool. And a lot of them last for a long time. I have a really good relationship with an investment banking firm, and they've given me several really good referrals. Earlier this year, I picked a client that they referred me to, which is a technology company in the gaming space. And they were part of an IPO. And so we put together a deck. We helped them with that, put together their message, their financial story, put together a website, what we call a data room with all the different data. And they're acquiring companies and they're ready to go IPO or going public later. And it's to be a part of that, putting that whole story together and then see it come alive. And we'll see about them, bringing it to fruition. But it's really cool to be able to see something from the start to where it could potentially go.
That is awesome. I guess on that note, let's transition a little bit into the the Distro podcast core topic of like hiring key players. How many people are involved in Brand Iron today?
We probably have like a dozen, let's say 12 to 15 different employees or contractors. Most of those are full time. It used to be a lot different. Say there's probably 6 to 8 quote unquote part of our part of Brand Iron officially, right? And the reason why is because it's become really, really hard to hire really, really good people. You know?
Preach. It's funny. We're in a day and age where the ability to engage with or have access to people globally it's better than it's ever been, right? Like there's different like social sites and platforms that you can hop on, and within minutes you're meeting someone from Germany or Asia or whatever. And but at the same time, like being able to really come and narrow down to finding really strong people with the skill sets that you would hope for, or culture fit, that seems pretty common across the board with companies and entrepreneurs, founders that we've met with. That it's a challenge. It's there's a lot of irony there. It's strange. So on that note, like what's your approach, Michael, when you I imagine you have some core key team members that have been with you, either
absolutely
still with you or maybe prior, with your other ventures. Like what do you feel like you've done, or what's caused that to happen, where you find these people and then they stay with you, and what are you doing to get them?
Well, let's go back a little bit too, because we used to have like 20 something employees before COVID hit. COVID hit and totally changed everything for almost all of us, right? And so my model had to change significantly, particularly when COVID hit. And it was really ironic because, right before COVID, I had a employee who was from Taiwan, and she was, going to school in Denver, working on her master's in marketing. And I got to know her really, really well. And after she graduated, she worked for me for a year. We were hoping to get, we were sponsoring her, hope that she get a green card and stay, but it didn't quite work out that way. But she made a comment that, a lot of U.S. workers don't know how to work very hard, and they're not very committed, and they're not very passionate. And it's really just more about a paycheck than it is actually a career or a mindset. And you really, really saw that come to light when people didn't have to come to the office anymore.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And you really saw like in an instant who was bought in and who wasn't, right? You would think it would be, you got a meeting at 8:00. Yeah, you're at home, but you still got a meeting at 8. And it was crazy to try to get people to participate and be on time or show up like showered or presentable.
I might get a little razzed for this comment, but I don't care. So in the tech industry, COVID exposed a lot, like you said, going fully remote, all of that. And one of the biggest things that it's exposed, this is an unspoken reality. But in the tech industry, and like the software engineering, spectrum, in the United States, it's very common that the average software engineer based in the United States working remote is actually only working about 20 hours a week. And that includes with these massive, FANG companies, these massive companies where these guys, these men and women are getting paid $500,000+ a year to come and work, but they're working part-time. That's not,
or they're working part-time, wanting to get paid full-time, and then you realize, oh, I can't do it then. I got another meeting. And you're like, well, wait a second. How would you have another meeting? It's not on the schedule. And you come to find out, hey, you got a side gig.
Now you got 2 jobs here. What the heck? Have you ever had, tell us about maybe like in a summary, but an experience you had where you found someone awesome. You know, are they still with you, or was this at another, you know, one of your other ventures?
Yeah, I have a really, really good one right now who's been with me for a couple of years now, and she's bright, she's young, she's hungry. She happens to live, you know, she grew up in the States, went to school in the States, went to the university in the States. It's not a citizen, no. Oh. And so she's hungry as hell, and she has a completely different mindset, and it's awesome working with someone who's a driver.
Where's she live?
She lives in Mexico.
Very cool. Very cool.
And, you know, it's ironic because she wants to move back to the States. And, you know, I want to see if we can't help make that happen, you know?
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
But, you know, finding the right individual who's got the right mindset, who's got the right work ethics, who has the right aligned values of you, and who aligns with your culture and your ethic and brand is everything. And it's so hard to find these days. And I think recruiting and finding that talent and holding on to that talent is hard. I mean, there's so many quote unquote free agents out there that's all they care about. They're free agents, and they're always going to be free agents.
Yeah, no doubt. You've touched on this a couple of times, but you know, how much experience do you have with hiring overseas or people from other countries, international?
I have employees in 6 different countries now.
Love that. That is so cool.
And so I had 0 experience with that prior to COVID.
Yeah, interesting how that's shifted things for not every company, but so many, like especially in the United States, but globally. I mean, that is what Distro is, right? Like we work with companies that are wanting to explore talent all over the world, and it's fun to see more and more of that happening, and the exposure with I think there's a common misconception, and I could be wrong, but from my experience, I think here in the U.S. we have a lot of pride, and we consider ourselves the experts of everything, and that no one can do it better outside of the United States. And we see that proven wrong time and time again. You know, someone that their financial, their cost is significantly less than someone here, but they run circles around the talent here. You know, it's crazy.
Well, I was talking earlier about that, my employee from Taiwan, and I said, what don't you like about your fellow coworker here? And he goes, they're lazy.
Oh yeah.
They don't have any drive. They don't want to achieve and excel in life. And I laugh. And, you know, our experience is, can it be some cost savings? Yeah. Because if they're good, you want to see them excel too, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
There's several of them. I'm like, oh, hell no. I'm going to keep you. I'm going to pay you well because you're really damn good and you're an important pillar of our organization. And our about high performing individuals. And if we find that high performing individual that meshes well with a team, that represents our brand well, and is super productive, there's no way in hell I want to lose them. And so it can save you some money, but more importantly, I find it, depending on the communication issue is one of the challenging issues, but if you can find someone that can communicate well and that meshes really well with you and your team, and who's got a great work ethic, it could be awesome. And we've got a really good team of domestic workers, if you will, right? And then a core team of that, but then we have a really good core team of international workers as well. But I think they're every bit as committed, or probably 3, 4, 5 times more committed, and they really care about their job, how you perceive them, how the customers perceive them. They're passionate, and there's a lot of people in the U.S. Society of Workers where they just don't have that same passion anymore.
Yeah, it's that you're spot on with that. Well, you mentioned that you've got people in 6 different countries. Where we know Mexico. What other countries are your people in?
Canada, Mexico, the Philippines, India. Oh God, I know. Pakistan. Sheesh.
I'm excited to hear what you have to say about this question. How do you feel having a multinational, diverse team has influenced or impacted the business?
I don't even think it's that. I think it's more importantly, you've got to work hard, just as hard, to find the right fit there as you do here in the States. But I do think the one thing I have seen is people really wanting to work with you, really wanting the job, compared to, we'll put a post up in the States, if you will, and it's sometimes people just don't want to apply. There's just zero interest. And if you do, it's the attitude. It's kind of like the whole cat and dog thing, that a lot of the U.S. workers think that they're the center of the universe.
Yeah.
And a lot of the workers around, what's that?
The mindset of, what are you going to do for me?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a cat mindset, right? The dog mindset. Oh my God, you are God. You feed me. You love me. You take care of me. And it's the cat and dog scenario. And that's what we see. And so, yeah, we've got a great team of U.S. workers, but we also have a great team of really passionate, have a great mindset, and really, some of them want to, quote unquote, serve. That serve is a unbelievable, really, really hard to come across these days. And a lot of the U.S. workers, they want to be served versus them wanting to serve.
Yeah. No, that's it's sadly true, but nonetheless, I think you're right. Like, finding the right people that really just, like, work ethic in general. What do they say? What's that saying? Hard work. Anyway, you'd rather have someone that can work hard than someone that can work smart. But ideally, you'd have someone that can be both. I'll take someone that can grind and work hard all day, because I can work with them. I can help them find success and, learn the skill set. But it's really hard to take someone that, is really smart but doesn't have that work ethic, because, in some ways that can be effective, finding innovative ways to do something faster or easier. But it's hard it's hard for the culture too. So anyway, Michael Doyle, Brand Iron, thank you so much for featuring on this episode. I'm very interested in learning some more about what you guys do, but yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap up with that. Thank you for everyone listening in. Michael, thank you.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.